Hey, everybody, I'm Georgia Rose from Zenkuda, and welcome to the Soul Space. I'm here every Monday night at 7 o'clock, and thank you so much for joining me, and welcome to everybody in the Zenkuda community. I'm just going to share the show, and if you're out there, if you want to share the show on your feed, that would be really terrific too. So every Monday night, we come on the show and we talk a little bit about astrology. Sometimes we talk about spiritual wisdom. Sometimes I have guests, and sometimes we talk about tarot. I pull some cards, and the audience can call in and comment. So please share the show. I'm going to be watching our comments today because we do have a guest coming on, but I am going to talk a little bit about the astrology in the beginning because we have some really big stuff coming in this week. We have a big lunar eclipse in Taurus on Saturday. And I'm sure you guys can feel the energy building. It's kind of like winding up a little bit of a clock. So we're going to feel a little bit of tension, a little stress. A lot of planets are moving to Scorpio this week. Sun goes into Scorpio in another day. And also, we've got Mercury and Mars in Scorpio. So that's going to affect the way we think, the way that we act. You're going to feel a little bit of tension in that regard. As far as wanting to go, 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 Scorpio takes no prisoners. So the other thing that happens with all this Scorpion energy is, especially with this lunar eclipse in Taurus, we're going to find that things that we've maybe kept hidden or buried are actually going to come up to the surface. But it's actually a really good thing because this is the end of a 2-year cycle of eclipse. This is the last eclipse that we have in Taurus for a while. And it's really meant for us to bring our inner resources to the surface. So if something's been coming up for you the last couple of years, repetitively, now is the time for you to really draw in that inner strength and make those changes because you're probably not going to get this opportunity again. There's a lot of opportunities that are going to present themselves. So it couldn't be more appropriate on a moon coming in like this to have my very special guest and friend on this evening. Kathy Marinelli Gagliano is a mom of 2 special needs sons. And she's been an advocate for them and along the way has such a story of inspiration, of hope, and also of kicking butt, I have to say. So if you will all welcome me tonight with the author of A Mother's Intuition, Kathy Marinelli Gagliano. And welcome,
Hi,
Kathy.
Georgia.
I'm so happy that you're here right at this time frame because the energy in the world right now, first of all, needs a lot of hope.
Yeah.
And second of all, I feel like this Taurus energy and Scorpio energy is almost like an axis of seeing where we need to dig deep and use our own resources to overcome stuff. And that's really your story.
It's definitely my story. When it came time of darkness, I pulled out all the junk and the dirt and
Mm-hmm.
all the ugliness, and I found the light.
You sure did. I just was reading your book actually recently, A Mother's Intuition. You can get it on Amazon, so get the book. And what really struck me about the main theme in the book is always using your intuition. But there were a couple of instances, like even when your children were really young, where you didn't, like, you always have people around you and externals telling you a path to take. And I feel like you never just accepted what they told you. You had your own idea of how to handle things and you really kind of worked with that. So talk a little bit about that intuition that really guided you.
Well, first of all, I believe in the power of prayer,
Mm.
and that's my go to. So I would put those questions out there and I would ask for guidance.
Yeah,
So even, and I always say we can ask these questions. It doesn't mean that we'll necessarily like the answers that we receive.
that's so true. That is so true. Got to be
And
brave sometimes, right?
yeah. So watching them at a young age, I could see that they weren't progressing
Mm-hmm.
like other children, especially my oldest, Anthony. He wasn't able to retain the alphabet. He would gaze a lot, stare a lot in the air.
Mm-hmm.
He had a very hard time sitting still, very impulsive, quick with his hands. He was very violent at times. I don't, people, when they meet him now that he's a grown man, they just cannot believe that this is the same young boy that I wrote about.
I have to tell you, that was one of the things that touched me the most in the book was when Anthony, even as a young child, would have, temper tantrums or outbursts, you could see past it. Like your intuition and the way you read energy really allowed you to not see the temper tantrum, but to see inside this little boy. And that was so touching to read that.
I learned very quickly that as a mom, you need to speak to the child, not to the disability.
Wow.
And if you could separate them both, it definitely creates a better space.
Yeah. I'm sure you had your days, you know.
I had my days. I had my days of crying in the shower. I had my days of hiding in my bedroom.
Oh,
I it was very, very stressful. A lot of fight or flight.
yeah, I'm
There's a
sure
lot,
because the body takes over. Yeah.
a lot of PTSD because you don't know who's going to call you from the school. You don't know what story they're going to come up with.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony was diagnosed at 2.5 with um, epilepsy, and they said it was 1.5 million that I caught it.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, and I was very fortunate that I was seeing it, and my best friend Patty had seen it on her own, and she said, "Kathy, please bring him to the neurologist."
Well, you know, that was the other thing in the book that really stood out for me because, you know, we're friends for a long time, and I'm a firm believer that we have people put in our path also. You know, I call them my army of angels, you know, and sometimes it could be someone random. But throughout the book, you had a support system that was really pretty amazing for you. It began with parents, and I know we'll talk a little bit about how that went in a few minutes, but you had neighbors who, you know, tell us a little bit about your neighbor. What was her name? Lynn, I think it was.
Actually, her name was Loretta, and she lived next door, and she saw my boys grow up to be men. Actually,
Wow.
she passed away in September.
Oh, she's
Um,
up there. She's
yeah,
watching.
and I know she's watching my son. There's not a doubt in my mind. Very kind, loving person.
Hmm.
And she used to say to me that I had, she used to look at me all the time and say I had the patience of a saint. My boys would run away and sit on her stoop around the corner, and she would give them chocolate chip cookies, and she would talk to them, and they would sing Wheels on the Bus. And she would say to me, Kathy, how to help your children.
Oh, absolutely. It
You,
shows. Mm-hmm.
you know not to listen to what everybody's saying to you.
Mm-hmm.
And she was right. And I knew it.
Yeah. Kathy and I were talking before the show, and I was said to her, you know, uh, the conclusion I came to after reading the book and just knowing Kathy was I didn't really know a lot of the personal things and trials that she had gone through. And we were just talking a few minutes ago about because of your heightened ability, you know, psychically and intuitively, I think that that's why your children have had the outcome they have. Because, like, when I talk about how you could see beyond the temper tantrum, it's an energetic force that you're just working through. So, you know, I think people are placed in our path, but we have, you know, our children choose us or we choose to be their parents. And when I read the book, I just felt, my gosh, this whole union of your family, even your husband, just so divinely put in place as a big soul contract there.
It really, really is a very big soul contract. And I thought about it over and over again. I married my husband to have my children.
Mm-hmm.
My children, if you believe in what Georgia and I believe in, our children choose us before they're born.
Yep.
And they know who's able to work their magic to help them grow and evolve.
So, Kathy, when you were in, like, you know, the darkest times, you know, we'll go into some of the stories in the book, but when you had real trials, did that pull you through? Like, did you go back to that feeling of like, no, I'm supposed to be here for this child and this is karmic? And
Not necessarily. For as much as I've been working on myself for 25 years, not necessarily.
Yeah,
Children don't come with a manual. We know that.
that's for sure.
I knew something was wrong with my children. No one would tell me that Anthony was autistic. No one would diagnose him. And for me, being the Capricorn that I am, you need to put a label on it so that I know what I'm working with. I need to know
Right,
what I'm working
right.
with. My son, I
Yeah.
needed to pull apart my son like an onion in order to get down to, all his needs.
Yeah.
So he had depressive issues from the epilepsy, kind of, I want to say some bipolar. He had the autism, which was diagnosed at, I want to say like at 6. And I wanted him
lot
to
to
be,
take
I
in.
wanted him to be labeled. I wanted to know what I was dealing with. I was determined.
Yeah, I put that in my notes actually because that was one of the things I wanted to talk about because that was stunning to me that you tell the story of how I believe it's with Michael and you kind of knew there was more of a diagnosis to be had, but it wasn't there. And then just one of your friends had suggested you go back to a doctor that he'd seen several years before. And you made a trip to upstate to see Dr. Z, as you call him. And then he gave you a diagnosis and talk about that.
Well, Anthony, it was Anthony.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was
No, it's okay. Anthony, I had met Dr. Z in Lake Success. They were doing trials, and all these children had different kind of needs, and it was out of pocket, which cost
always
us
hurts a little, but
yeah,
you do it.
but I
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
And I was just so intrigued with this man when he spoke. And he told me that he was young and that he saw some things that could very well be, but he wouldn't put his finger on it as of yet because he was still young. But I knew that
How
he
old was he at the
I knew that
time?
he knew. He was I want to say 5.
And I asked for people out there who have children, like when to expect diagnoses. I guess it's different.
5.
depending
It's usually 5.
on- Okay.
In nursery school, like they sent me a whole bunch of paperwork, and I told them that he had a very difficult time playing with other children. He was very impulsive. The seizures, of course,
Yeah, I can
we didn't know
imagine.
how much they were under control. And listen, I needed the diagnosis. Unfortunately, he left the practice. I searched for him online.
There's your Capricorn, honey.
I searched for him online, and anybody
No
knows who
mountain
has a
too high.
special needs child knows that we're like better than FBI agents. I searched for him online, and I told my best friend, Patty, of course, Patty, he's going to diagnose him. I know he is. He's not going to give me a hard time. He's going to diagnose him. And she's
You
like,
knew he
where
was
is
the
he?
one.
I knew. I kept calling and calling and calling, and they kept telling me he was a professor and he wasn't taking on any more clients.
Oh.
And I said I was going to show up. And they called me back. They said, Ms. Scagliano, we know. He said that if he doesn't see you, you're not going to stop.
He really knew you. Only met you a few times. And he had you down.
And I went after hours.
Yeah.
I went
Wow.
after hours.
Wow. He must have thought you were a stalker.
Yeah, he did. Well, he said when we met, he says, "Oh, I remember you."
Oh, I'll bet
And
he
it
did,
was-
guys.
It was 5 o'clock, and
Wow.
we waited for him to talk. He was a professor teaching, the
Yeah,
students.
You wanted to
on-
see him.
Yeah.
You were not taking no for an answer.
No, so he met with Anthony. He evaluated him, spoke to him a little bit, and he said it's pervasive developmental disorder. He's on the autism spectrum. And I was elated.
And I remember you telling the story in the book. You were saying how the friend thought you were going to like really be upset with it, but you weren't. You were like, no, now I know what I can deal with.
My friend Patty, who's Michael's godmother, broke down in the lobby,
Oh.
and I said to her, "I love you so much. It's okay." And I said, "It's okay. Now we know what we have to do for him, right?"
Yeah.
And she said, "Kathy, you're the strongest person."
I just thought that was so courageous when I read that, but I can understand it too, because it's like, now maybe I can get a clear path. It's like people who are very sick and then they get a diagnosis like, okay, now maybe I have a plan.
Well, that's the way I am, though. I'm a Capricorn. I need a plan.
Yeah, you need a plan. You need a mountain to climb.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it.
But I think that attitude, if there's people watching who are in similar situations or any situation in life that's challenging for us, if we can have a mindset like that, we become so powerful, don't we?
It's it's very empowering when you know what you're dealing with.
Right.
And every day I woke up with the mindset, how am I going to help my child, my children today? And that's what I was running on. Don't get me wrong. At first, I was a little sad, like when I thought about it and I processed it.
Yeah, of course.
I cried a little bit. It took me 2 months, not 2 months, 2 weeks. And then I said, okay, this victim stuff is not working for me. This isn't who I am.
Yeah, I can't see you stay in that energy either.
No,
Yeah.
no. And I was like, okay, I'm going to get him services. I'm going to see what I'm going to see what I'm dealing with the
Right.
school district, and I'm going to be a powerhouse, and I'm going to take over.
And you did it, boy. You do what you said.
Thank you.
So the
Yeah.
book is very inspirational. So I want you to tell us the story. I know it might be painful, but I think probably one of your biggest turning points was when Anthony had to go into care. And you talk about that in the book. And the reason why I don't mean to upset you,
No.
the reason why I really want to talk about it is because I think that is one of the hardest decisions that we make in our life. Whether it's a child going into care, or sometimes even, we have to place a parent, an elderly parent, in that nursing home situation or something like that. But I think it's so much more gut wrenching with a child. This child is dependent on you. And so talk about that a little bit, because there were some parts of the book that were so touching, but also the way that you handled it, I think, could help so many people out there who may be going through that.
Anthony could not get the education and the supports that he needed. And it takes more than love to get them
Right.
where they need to go.
So sometimes love isn't enough, right?
No, it's not enough.
Yeah.
We can love them unconditionally. As a mom, it was very, very difficult because I felt like I'm supposed to raise him. But seeing him being kicked out of kindergarten, and I knew it wasn't the proper placement for him, and they made me believe that it was, and I knew intuitively that it wasn't. And he was receiving services at home for a while because he got kicked out of kindergarten. There was no other place. So when we had the meeting at the school district and it was an option, I have to tell you, I had to ask them to repeat it more than
I
once.
would imagine. Yeah. I can't, I don't have children, so I can't imagine that, but I would imagine being so stunned by it that you're not able to process it,
Well, because I asked him what the next steps were, and that was the answer.
Yeah.
First of all, he was violent. He had violent tendencies. The other thing was his cocktails and medications I couldn't keep up with. Then you have to take them to all of these professionals, and they're all in different offices and
Right.
different locations. How do you keep that all together? It's impossible.
It is impossible. But getting to that point where it's impossible is quite different than
Yeah,
mentally processing.
he needed an ABA. He needed the doctor. He needed the nurse. He needed the psychologist. He needed the teachers
Right.
that were able to teach.
But you had to give up your baby.
I had to give up my baby. But here's the thing. When you believe in the power of prayer, and you believe in that there is something bigger than yourself, and there is a God, you will get those messages. And the message was that I had to release my son in order for him to get the help that he needed.
And in the book, you even write that. You said, I went after the evening you left him at the place and the home. You went home and you prayed and you just said, God, I put my son in your hands.
I did. I put my son on, I was on the knees, put my head on my bed, put my hands to my face, and I told the Lord that I release him to wrap him in his arms, take care of him, and I will give service to parents in need till my last breath.
That's so beautiful. And such something that we don't hear nowadays is that testament to faith. And having such a strong faith is something I think that, the world really needs to hear our stories about that. Because, Kathy, to be able to do that was such a strength inside of you. So you have to know you were really touched to be in that place,
And the sad part about it is, and my parents can't help who they were. Having that Italian upbringing, they were very, very angry with me. They thought I was
You're right about that. Yeah.
They thought I was taking the easy way out, when in turn it was very, very difficult. We ended up in family court because of my decision. Our decision, mine and my husband's. The judge said we were in the wrong place because clearly we were a loving family, and that they needed to really look at my decision a little bit more clearer, because I brought her a box full of his medical records and pictures. And it was very heart-wrenching for me. I learned though through that process that I needed to love and accept my parents for who they were, accept them for who they are not, forgive them because it's the
They were
way they
grieving
were
too.
raised.
Yeah, and they were
They were
grieving.
grieving.
Yeah.
And I have to say, they watched Anthony grow and Michael grow. And Anthony is very independent. He lives out east in the Mauritius in a
And
home
that's amazing.
with 4 girls, 5 guys. He's a horticulture. He works in horticulture
Oh,
like my
wow.
dad.
Yeah.
Michael is in Nassau. He's doing computer technology and repair, and I'm so proud of him.
Well, you
And
should be proud of them and proud of
and
yourself.
my parents apologized.
See, isn't that amazing? Like you were just saying, that was really a gift to you, right? Because it was kind of like a healing crisis. Because you probably have better relationships in some ways now than you did before all that happened.
I chose as an adult to have my children have a relationship with them regardless of how difficult it was, because I needed to put my head on the pillow at night.
Mm-hmm.
And by me taking my parents away from them would have been selfish on my part. So
Right.
I forgave. And in the end, which I write in my second book, the volume 2, is that my children chose for them to be their sponsors for confirmation.
Oh, okay. So that spirit's working.
So if that doesn't make you think about how it all comes full circle,
Full
I don't
circle.
know.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Yeah.
does.
But I just feel almost like your story is like, that TV show Touched by an Angel. It's
Oh.
like every step of the way, there's been like some intervening with some kind of pixie dust somewhere.
But I do. But I believe in all that. I believe. I
absolutely.
believe in earth angels, and I talk about it in my book. Every
Oh, yeah.
person that came into my life led me to
Like a
the place
stairway.
I needed
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
Through the power of prayer,
Mhm.
they would show up on my path and be like, I think this is what you need to do. And I would think, were you in my house? Did you hear me pray?
Right.
And still to this day, I believe in divine intervention and the people that we meet.
I was telling Kathy before the show, I'm driving over here and stopped behind a car, and the license plate says "Blessed One." And we had some conversations before the show that about synchronicity. So that's the way the world works. So
Right.
we need to get in flow, people. That's why we're in the soul space. So we're going to go to some comments. We got a bunch of people here. What was I going to also say? I have some notes here. Yeah, this was what it was. This is a great lead-in for what you just said. In the book, you say faith is your secret weapon. And when you went home that evening and got on your knees and prayed and said, I give my son over to you, God, that was faith, blind faith. That is a secret weapon. When you put that into action, beautiful things happen.
Definitely.
You just have to sometimes let go and release. And it's so hard for us to do, really hard for us to do. But you did it. You're known as the bulldozer mother.
Yeah. Yes.
So let's see what comments we have. Okay, we've got a lot of people on. So Anita Mina is watching. She wants to know what kind of home that you decided to put for Anthony to live in. It's a group home, you just said.
Anthony, at the younger age, was placed in a residential schooling facility called the Center for Developmental Disabilities. And I have to say that they took very, very good care of him. Very, very good care of him.
That's good to know.
And now he belongs to the organization Independent Home Group Living, and both of those facilities are merged.
Oh,
So,
best of both worlds.
yeah. And I have to say, I can't thank the staff enough that are taking care of him right now as we speak. The supervisors, he works at a place called Smile Farms.
Oh, wow, I love that name.
They're all so hands-on. Melissa Baculi, who's his supervisor at the house, his mom that he listens to, Tracy. I have no regrets. No regrets whatsoever.
That's really good for somebody to hear who's in this situation.
He has a really good life, and he'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. And you were instrumental in that, because had you not let go and had faith, it might not have happened.
Right.
So that really is your secret weapon.
Yeah.
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 So that was one of the questions we had. Whoops. A lot of people saying hello. We've got Darlene, Joanne, Monica, Sarah. I've got Michael 7 on here with Susan Glazer. Hey, Susan, I want to make it to one of your sound
Hi.
healings. We got to have Susan on the show doing a sound bath. Linda Amori's here. Janine. Linda's one of my soul sisters. Love you, Lynn. Maria Girardi Licata says hi. Hillary Harktung.
Yes.
She's watching. Daniel Brooks. Ann Rothney's one of our faithful viewers. And good vibes, Kathy. Love you, Kathy. My 2 sons, Joanna Maya says her 2 sons have ADHD, learning disabilities, and autism spectrum. So I'm sure you're enjoying Kathy's story. Get the book, Joanna Maya, A Mother's Intuition. You get it on Amazon. I have it on my Kindle.
Joanna, I would suggest that in the next 3 weeks, when my second book is out, it has volumes 1 and 2 so that you can get the full story.
Because we've got more coming.
Yes.
Risa Baghdadi says, Kathy, you are a fierce and proactive mom. Your kids are lucky to have you in their corner, and parents as well as educators who have a hero in you. Can't wait to read your new book. God bless you and your
That's
family
beautiful.
always.
Thank you so much.
You have been such a light in the world. And that's what the soul space is about. You know, Zenkuda Soul Space is all about lighting up that soul space, bringing it out to the world. Anita Mita said her son was diagnosed at 26 months. The name of the book, Anita, is A Mother's Intuition, Volume 1, and she's in the process of getting Volume 2 out there for you. And if anybody wants to call into the show, Bobby will put that number on the screen. Monica says, yes, we are like detectives. You're absolutely right. And Monica says, I understand and have been through similar situations with my youngest, who is now 26. Boy, I give all you moms out there with special needs kids extra kudos, sending hearts up to all you guys tonight. And Michael says you are a powerhouse. Sarah says, definitely appreciate getting the diagnosis concept. Mom of 2 pandas, Pan's kids. I don't even know what that is. So
It's on the
abbreviations.
autism spectrum. Yeah.
Okay. Shows you my ignorance, guys. And Susan says, well said, goddess, beautiful wisdom. Boy, you got everybody on here tonight. Darlene Attard, you are an inspiration to trust, praying to God to take care of him, and then to share witness, and then to share with us all. Donna Zakaris, Kathy's power of prayer and positivity is incredible. So very proud of her and all the choices she has made. God is good. I got Joey Skiffo on here. You've got a bunch of people on here giving you kisses. All these beautiful comments. Angels do exist, says Monica. And Risa says, angels came to you, and now you are the angel for many. Yeah. And this is what I want to talk about in this part of the show. Bobby will put the number on the screen. Anita is saying yes to a sound bath. The number, if you're listening and not just watching, is 516-945-9099. So if you're out there, Susan Glazer Gelman, we got to have a sound bath. So people who watch the show on a regular basis know our philosophy at Zenkuda is there's 3 parts to the crisis, right? First, we have the crisis where we break down. We talked about that. And then you break through it and you get more powerful, and all the wisdom is there in that place of loss, or of what I like to call abduction. Something from our life is actually abducted, and that's we go into a loss. And we were talking, Kathy and I, about how oftentimes when we're on the journey, a lot of times people stop there and they think, okay, I learned my lesson. But there's another part of that, which is a third part of the healing crisis, as we like to call it, which is the breakout. And that's really what you've done. And you've taken this challenge and made it a purpose and made it something really great. So talk to us about what's coming next. And because I love this for you, and like what your purpose and what your goal is, your intention now.
Well, recently, I've kept it under wraps, but recently I opened up a Parent's Intuition. It's an S Corp, and I plan on having community of special needs parents,
which is so needed,
get together, whether it's on Zoom.
You got a call coming in. You want to hold that thought a sec?
Sure.
Hi, welcome to the Soul Space. You're here with Kathy and Georgia. Hello.
Hello.
You just have to turn down the show and talk a little loud to us.
It's Danielle Brooks.
Hi, Danielle. How are you?
Danielle is my advocate.
Yes, and your friend. We were friends.
And my
too.
friend, and one of my very beautiful friends.
We're
Yes,
so
and
glad
our
to have
boys
you.
together. But I have the privilege of reading both books, watching this woman grow from someone who really didn't get everything, just bulldozed her way through.
She's saying both in
learning
both
and
books you
sharing
bulldoze your way
others.
through.
You know, she's really come a long way, and her intuition is incredible.
Spot on, right? Spot on intuition.
I share one of her sadder stories, which is in the second book. I rode the ambulance.
Uh-oh. We were talking a little bit about that.
She was definitely, no pun intended, my ride and die in the ambulance.
Almost turned out through the ladder.
Yeah, exactly.
So talk to us a little bit about that if you want. Well, first tell us about your new endeavor. So Danielle, did you have a question for us or anything, or just wanted to call in and send some love?
How you're staying so put together and calm.
How are you so put
Because-
together and calm?
You know what, Danielle? Because of advocates like you and Maria Licata that have given me all the knowledge that I need, and being the loving, giving me all that unconditional love and all that positivity, and teaching me how to breathe and how to keep my cool in a meeting. And that's how I'm able to keep it together and to help other parents through strong women like yourself.
And now you can pass that on.
And that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And they are my advocates, have been with me how many years, Danielle?
Oh my goodness. Michelangelo and James are 23 now,
Yeah.
or 22. How old is Michelangelo?
Michael's 22.
He's 22, and James is 23. My autistic son is 26. He's in law school. So
Wow.
I've known you since the boys were probably 7 or 8.
That's
So a long time. We've known
Yes.
each other a very long
And we've become friends,
Mhm.
and we have taught each
Fought
other.
the fight together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we're going to collaborate, and we have so much more work to do. Am I right, Danielle?
We're on a path together forever.
That's
The
beautiful.
boys like nephews. Kathy is like a bad sister, and I say bad because she keeps me in line. I know she can read me at any time, and
bulldozer.
she just shares her light with the world.
She does, and such a light.
She is the toughest mothers I've ever met.
I have to say,
Place yourself
oh, sorry.
residentially. To
Oh.
find out
Aw.
the diagnosis in both boys,
Hmm.
and to be on a journey where you ended up in an ambulance in the middle of
Yeah.
a meeting. I've never seen you so upset, and I never will see you so upset ever again. That's my prediction. It's been a journey that has been at times a lot of fun to be on, and then you terrified me that day. But we both kept our calm, and you're sitting here alive to tell your story.
Thank you,
And
Danielle.
you have interesting story to tell.
Very much so. And I have to say, the one thing that just stands out for me is so many of these kids who are diagnosed and, I guess would be referred to as out of control or uncontrollable, go on to lead these beautiful, productive lives and just become lights, like your son's doing horticulture and the other one, computer, and this Danielle's son is in law school. And if they didn't have parents like you guys, who knows what would have the outcome
Right,
been.
that's exactly it. Actually, and Danielle can actually be a testament to how violent my son Anthony was. And what did I say, Danielle? If I don't get him into a home, he will become a juvenile delinquent and in jail.
And we had many bumps
Oh, we
along
have more
that
calls.
road. It wasn't just place them in a residential setting in school
Right.
and things will get instantly better. There were hundreds of adjustments made along the way.
Oh, I'm sure.
And a journey, she had to sacrifice certain things about him to make him who the person he is today. And when I get to see Anthony, because I have the privilege of seeing him, not as often as I like, but I do get to see him, his smile lights up.
Oh,
And
that's
he
great.
engages you in such a way that he just wants to tell you everything that he's done.
That's
And
beautiful.
he's just an incredible human being.
Well, thank
and
you
he
for
still
that.
Struggles. He does. He does. But he lives independently. And that's something that not everybody
See
can
that? We did the best thing. So Danielle, thank you for calling in. We've got a bunch of our phone lines lighting up to talk to this beautiful woman here.
Else and enjoy Kathy, please.
I love you,
I'm gonna keep
Danielle.
watching.
Thank you for calling in.
Thank you for calling. And Maria Licata, the person you just
Yes.
mentioned, is in the chat, and she's saying, just kudos to you. So proud to be Team Anthony. So I think we have another call, right, Bob? Hi, you're on the Soul Space with Kathy and Georgia.
Hi, Georgia. Michael 007 call.
Ah, how are you?
Hey, Michael.
Hi, goddess. Hi,
How-
goddesses.
Thank you so much for calling in. And for everybody who doesn't know my Michael, he is a sound healer with my very good friend and soul sister, Susan
Susan.
Glasser. And
I don't think there's words to describe them.
no,
They're
no,
very high vibe
No,
and always joyful.
they are my meds.
And that's a good way to describe
They
them.
are my meds. They are my juice. I know them for 6 years. Michael is just such a great combination with Susan. The music just keeps getting better and better. My boys love to listen to them. To me, my mission is to have the special needs community, the parents and the children, experience the sound bath. That's, and I'm telling you, it's something that you need to
Life-changing.
experience. It is life changing.
Yeah. And that's part of your mission. We were talking about that before. So I think you, Michael and Susan, are going to be part of that, right?
Absolutely. We're
So-
collaborating.
So I got to get Bobby Lacera, my producer here at the studio, to do a spiritual music night, Bob. What do you think of that? I know he's back there in the booth. Bobby, we're going to have a sound bath here.
It'd be an honor to do that.
We should do it
Yeah,
here.
to spread the love and light.
That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
I think it's an amazing idea.
So, Michael, what touched you most about Kathy's story?
Kathy is a powerhouse. Kathy's an earth angel. I can't say enough about Kathy. She's on a mission. That's what Source has given unto her.
It's true.
She's just rolling with incredible power. She wants to make changes, and she's doing it. She's putting action.
Mm-hmm.
She's putting words into action.
Yeah.
Her kids have come to a sound bath. They have actually played with the bowls and got grounded. I'm just sitting back watching the expressions on their face. They're tuning in. And I believe that people that are a spectrum or in other dimensions, because we play multidimensional singing bowls, they tune right in with us.
I can absolutely agree with that. I
It's
mean,
just an incredible.
yeah, I can.
Right.
I would think. And Michael, I don't know how you feel, but I know like part of my belief is that these children are in another dimension. You know, it's an energetic field that we just have trouble communicating with.
Yes, to a degree, and the spectrum is vast because I know of other kids. I mean, we even play for we've played for horses. it's frequencies.
Right.
You know, they could be feeding out in the pasture. Susan will play a flute. I'll play the Tibetan bowl, and they just completely shift from what they're doing, and they'll walk towards you. So the frequencies are stimulus. It's a stimulus.
Beautiful.
Just to get the attention and to get them. It's a divine connection.
Well, isn't
Yeah.
music is the universal
Language.
language of everybody
Language.
Yeah.
that helps everyone.
Yep.
And if you tap into that, right? I say that all the time, right, Michael? I have my seat in
Yeah.
Susan's house, and everybody knows that it's my seat. And
It's your little
I-
dot in the
The
world.
It is.
process starts, and it's incredible. When I tune in, I have to pinch myself because I could put myself under.
You feel like you're levitating, right?
In those frequencies and vibrations.
Yep.
We have
You know,
another
and our
caller.
intention is to bring
Okay.
love.
You know what,
and
Michael?
spread
We
love.
have another caller calling in, but I love you. Thank you for calling in.
And let us
Love
know when
you,
the next
love
sound
you,
bath
love what you're
is.
doing.
Let us know when
Respect,
the next event is. I'll plug it on the show.
blessings,
Take care, Mike.
blessings to you both. Love you.
Love you too. So much love tonight. I love it when we got a lot of love. Everybody send up some hearts. Hey, you're on the Soul Space with Kathy and Georgia.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Who's calling in? Who we-
Hello.
Hello, who are
Hello.
we talking to?
Susan Glazer Gelfman.
Hey!
Hey, Michael.
We got a double dose tonight.
Hi, Sue.
Hi, goddesses.
We got the double.
Hi. This is
Hi.
Susan from Susan Sanctuary. My soul sister, my goddess friend, my absolute amazing other half, and we are creating magic together for the special needs community, and I'm absolutely excited about it.
We'll have to have all of you on the show next time. We'll have Susan on too.
Absolutely. I think that's
Yeah.
great.
And we'll talk about the endeavors that you guys are doing. But keep in touch with us because I'll make sure that we plug them all in the soul space. So, Susan, tell us a little bit. Michael just told us how the singing bowls and the work that you do is such different high frequency. So now, I was saying, like, I think some of these children respond to that because I think they speak a different language than us.
Yes, I can speak to that, but right now I want to share that many of us can speak to that aren't considered on the spectrum because we are all connected to spirit.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
the sound healing is, I thank God all the time for showing me this. I didn't know it was in my path. And what it is a way for me to transmit the unspeakable beyond words of how we are touched in our psyche, our brain waves and heart waves, all people.
Mm-hmm.
And that creates a depth inside and a community when shared that brings out people's love and wisdom and authenticity.
Which we need more of in the world, right?
And that's where Kathy and I have connected tremendously, from the little girl inside to the sensitive being to the powerhouse, outspoken women we are, and really separately, and we're all finding each other, the people that really want to speak from love and respect and go on the personal journey to transform ourselves, because we all have learning and growth.
Yep. Just takes courage. A little bit of courage.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Susan.
Absolutely, thank you. And the
Thank
audience,
you.
the audience can find Susan on Facebook, Susan Glaser Gelman,
Yes.
and Susan Sanctuary. So we're gonna have you on the
Yes,
show, Susan.
Thank you both.
Yeah, you and
Thank
Michael
you.
have to come
I love
out.
you, and Kathy, you're awesome.
I love
Thank
you,
you, Georgia
Susan. You
Rose.
know that you're my
Thank
heart.
you.
You're awesome too.
Love you guys. We have such a great little community of spirituality on Long Island, where I live. We have another caller. Welcome to the Soul Space tonight. You're on with Kathy and Georgia.
Hi, Aunt Kathy. It's Bianca.
Bianca, my Bianca. Hi. That's my
How are
niece.
you?
Oh, okay.
Good. I'm so glad you called in.
I am so proud of you. I was watching as I was doing laundry, and I feel the magic
See,
that you
this
put
is my
into the
journey
world.
moving on.
I do. You are magical, truly.
That's beautiful to have family supporting you.
Bianca, you and your sister are my heart. And I am deeply proud of you. And I realize all through the years of us sitting and talking and you asking me all these questions about spirituality and intuitiveness, and I've watched you apply that to your life, and I see all the positive changes that you have made. And I've always said to you, you will be successful, and I'm watching it. I'm watching it unfold, and when I see you in your element, I am so lifted. I'm so proud of you. I don't even have enough words that you listened to Aunt Kathy and you took the advice and you ran with it. And to see
You are
in,
just such a light. You really are, Aunt
Yeah,
Kathy,
she really- you
and
are.
We love you. We're so thankful.
I'm honored to have you
Bianca,
here
I love
tonight.
you.
We're honored to have you in the Soul Space.
Bianca, they are pushing us along. We have another caller, and I love you so much for calling in, sweetheart. I can't wait to see you soon.
Bye. Love you.
Bye-bye. So we have another caller for Kathy tonight. Hello, you're on the Soul Space with Kathy Marinelli Gagliano. And who we have on the other line?
Hello.
Hello. Who am I talking
Hi.
to?
This is Joey.
My Joey.
You have all these fans.
I wanted to call in and send so much love and give a little bit of Kathy and what she kind of
Wow.
inspired me in my life.
Aw, Kathy, you are really doing the
Joey.
work, let me tell you.
Joey.
Oh, totally. So I'll give you. I grew up. I was diagnosed with a learning disability, had ADHD, and I learned through audio-visual disability. And I've been going through my journey. I've been doing. I've been sitting with Susan, Michael. They're the three goats: Susan, Michael, and
The
Kathy for this world. And one thing that Kathy really gave me was confidence and
Wow.
to speak my truth and to talk and to really honor my space and others. So my love for her and her journey, it's just
You're right where
been
you're supposed to be. babe.
really, really life-changing. Just on this spectrum where I'm 35, I'm going through it. I connect with both sides of the crowd, and she has really been that
Wow.
driving force of just
You're changing lives.
inspiration.
He's making the.
You're making her cry, but it sounds like she
Oh.
changed your life, Joey.
Joey,
Oh, no,
you are my heart, and intuitively, and I say this to you all the time, you will and you are successful. You are that healer. You are taking the pause. You are doing all the right things. You're making all the right decisions, and I know that you are a force to be reckoned with. I see
love
it,
you.
and there's
going.
nothing. It's awesome. It's awesome. You're on the right path, Joey, and I love you.
We have one
Thank
more
you.
call, so thank you so much for calling in.
Joey, thank you.
We have one more call,
Thank-
but before we do
sure.
that, I don't want to run out of
Bye.
time. The book is A Mother's Intuition. It's Kathy Marinelli Gagliano, and keep in touch and watch her on all social media because she's going to be doing some events for special need parents. And my gift for being on the show tonight is a deck of these oracle cards. These are the oracle cards that I created. It's called Circle of Light.
Thank you.
And you are light in the world. So those are
Thank
totally
you so much.
got energy of the soul space in those cards. So who are we talking to tonight? Who else called in here? You're on the show with Kathy and Georgia. Are you there, caller?
Georgia?
Yes. How are you?
Okay, this is Marianne.
Hi, Marianne. How are you? Do you have a question for our guest tonight?
Well, I'm just having a very hard time, and I don't know what's happening. So I don't know.
So, one of the things our guest is really good at is rising above challenging times. And I think one of the lessons we can take from Kathy is the inspiration of her courage and her faith. So maybe at times like this, when we're just in challenge or we're feeling very heavy energy, we really kind of have to just give it over to God.
Marianne, so I know we don't have, lengthy time. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're struggling with?
I think she's had some loss, right, Marianne?
Yeah. Lonely, and I just don't know,
Loss. I have to say, I've been through my moments of loss, and I find my peace in prayer. I find my peace in being around positive, uplifting people. There's so many ways that we can find our peace. You really have to, put yourself out there, even though that it's difficult. Because if we spend too much time in your head, that's not the best place to be.
And I think sometimes we get stuck in the loss. And one of the things that I've always found is when we're in that low energy and I can feel the energy, gratitude is often the antidote. When we're grateful and we can find something in our life to be grateful and have gratitude, it's really the antidote for all that grief. So when you hang up tonight, whether you're home or wherever you are, just look around and be grateful for one little thing, whether that's a flower in a vase or a music, put on some music or something, maybe something that you're going to eat for dinner. But find that one little speck of gratitude, and that will start to crack the light in, because there's never only darkness, there's always light, but we're not seeing it because we're not looking in the right direction. Gratitude will show you how to find the light. So that's the best advice we can give you in this short time, Marianne. But if you want to message me later, and you want to work together, we'll see if we can help in any way. But you've got to find some form of gratitude.
Marianne, don't give up. Don't give
No.
up hope. There's always hope.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right, honey. Have a good
Okay.
night. So
All
we'll
right.
be sure. We'll be here next Monday night at 7:00, and maybe we'll have another guest. I don't know, but we'll keep you informed. And Kathy, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on Facebook. I have my page on Facebook. You can find me at my website, which is mothersintuition.co. And like I said, my new endeavor is a Parents Intuition, where we will be reaching out to parents globally, internationally, community.
I love this.
Retreats, book signings, all of it. I want the special needs parents, moms, dads, caregivers to know that I see them, I hear them. There's no reason for us to be alone.
No.
We can communicate. We can go to the arboretums and have picnics. We can go to have breakfast at the diners. We can do all those wonderful things
Share,
together.
connect.
We can have the singing bowls with Susan and Michael. And to experience that is something absolutely amazing to experience. And once you've done it, you're going to want to do it again. I want to give a quick shout out to my friend Jill, who's absolutely creative in my marketing and all her brilliant ideas. We are creating mugs and wine glasses that say Coffee, Cocktails, and Kathy. And we can discuss all of your questions and how you feel, and if it's advocacy, if it's just the way you're feeling, if we want to laugh, whatever it is that you want to talk about and discuss.
Place of community.
Exactly. It's all about community. I believe in community. I believe in paying it forward. I have my faith. I have my prayers. And
you've got your light.
And my light, and I
It's like,
want to share that. I really believe in paying it forward, and I want to give a shout out to my husband, who has my back and always has had my back, my family, my friends, and my amazing soul sisters, my cousin Donna, my friend Patty, my friend Sharon.
It's turned into like a whole everybody.
All of them. And you know
So
what?
we're gonna wrap.
Without surrounding yourself with those positive people, you need to do that. That's how you find your success. If they elevate you, they make you great.
Okay, so you got it. So like Kathy on Facebook, and then you'll be in touch with her for all the events that she has coming up. And you know where to find me. You can find me here every Monday night. Zenkuda Soul Space, Zenkuda Soul Space on Facebook, Zenkuda Official on Instagram, and of course my website, zenkuda.com. Thanks so much, everybody. I'll see you next
so
week in the
much.
Soul
Great
Space.
seeing you.
Bye-bye.